There we go. Welcome to today's video. We're going to talk about rhythm. I've recorded this video now a couple of times. Every time I record, something happens, but we shall prevail. Let's explore the essence of rhythm. So, is it just a beat or is it something deeper? So, I feel that music is a universal language and it extends beyond music. So, when you think about when you're walking and when you're talking, when we're actually talking to each other, we are using certain rhythms. When you're listening to my voice now, you can actually hear there's a certain rhythm to when I'm talking. And there's also pitch that I'm using when I'm talking. So even when you're breathing, you're using rhythm. And your body is constantly at a breathing pace that you don't even always consciously notice. So it's awesome that our heartbeat and our breath is keeping us awake. And these are all things that have to do with rhythm and with beat. So I think that's kind of special. So rhythm also exists in nature. When you look at the crashing waves, when you look at the birds singing, when you look at horses running, there's all rhythm involved to it. And when rhythm gets disrupted, there's usually something that happens, and you can feel that in music as well. The moment that the constant beat gets disrupted, you kind of have an expectation of something happening. So yeah, that's very cool. How rhythm comes to us in our everyday life. If we look at ourselves and our human condition, it's weird to say this, but we also kind of live in a certain rhythm. And when we don't have consistency to our lives, we also find disruptions. So I think that's also why a lot of people make it so important to have a routine and, just so you can be in a cycle. When you look at the moon and when you look at the planets and all the phases, everything has a certain cycle that it works with. And I feel music literally is the same in that way. So, yeah, we can get very, very deep into this topic, but I'm going to move on for now. So, I want to talk now about the difference between beat and rhythm. So, beat is basically the backbeat of the music, if you can think about it that way. So, that would be like the constant pulse going on. So if you think about a metronome that can give you the time, and you set it at 60 beats per minute, for example, that's the same speed at which a clock is going. So you'd basically be hitting one time for each second that's going on. But if you have 120 beats per minute, that means you're going to hit 2 times per second, essentially. Now you have to decide how far or how close you want to put those notes to each other. So basically, when notes are further apart, they are perceived as being slower. And when notes are closer together, they are perceived as being faster. So you have to have a succession of notes to actually be perceiving it as faster or slower. When you just have one note, you can't really perceive it as being very slow or very fast, except for if you are measuring its pitch, and that would be its frequency. All right. So why your body is the best metronome. So like we talked about earlier, if you listen to your heartbeat is also like at a consistent rhythm. So if you tap into that and you listen to it enough, you can intuitively start understanding what beat is like and how you can apply beat in making music. So essentially just try tapping along to something at a consistent pace. Don't go faster and don't go slower. just try to be consistent. All right, so I want to talk now about syncopation and polyrhythms and grooves and all of that stuff. So, groove is there in music to kind of add a feeling to what the music is feeling like. So, if you think about a groove, it could be something like a swing groove or cha-cha groove. It's basically just moving the spaces between our notes so they're not equally distant apart, but they kind of have a fluctuation in how close and how far they are from each other, and that gives the music a certain feel. And then when we're talking about polyrhythms and syncopation, that basically just means we're playing different kinds of rhythm on top of each other. So a polyrhythm example would be if you play 4 and 3 at the same time, but they have to last for the same amount of time as well. So if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you have 1, 2, 3 in that same amount of time that the 4 is, that would be an example of a polyrhythm. And syncopation is basically also just that. How must I say this? So syncopation is basically like syncing up different parts, like your left and your right hand, or different parts of the song, and working with different rhythms. So we'll go more into that into the future. So rhythm, I feel, is a reflection of life itself. When you think about the predictability of rhythm and the chaos in rhythm, it's very, very, very much like life. In that sometimes we have a lot going on and it's fast paced and it's like crazy, and other times it's very slow and it feels like nothing's going to happen. Other times it just feels perfect and we're like at this perfect pace. So I think the most important thing is for us to learn how to dance with life and to just lay back and let go of control, because when you're playing drums and when you're learning an instrument, that's one of the first things you have to learn, is to learn that mistakes are fine and you have to embrace making mistakes. So make as many mistakes as possible so that you can learn how to move forward. So I encourage you to go do something this week with rhythm. So go hit a pot, or go gorilla mode on your chest or something. Just find some way for you to express yourself with rhythm, and just try to explore it intuitively. And then, just experiment with rhythm and see how it can teach you about embracing imperfection and rhythm and flow. And I think a very important thing is when we surrender, we learn how to get into the flow state. So instead of having this anxiety the whole time around doing stuff, we can step into a constant rhythm and a constant flow. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave the thumbs up button. Please give the video a like, give the subscribe button a tickle, and click on the bell notification button. I really appreciate everyone watching this video. If you found something valuable, please share it with a friend and comment down below. This is going to be, this is a 30 video uncut series. So if there's a lot of whatever's in between, don't worry about it. In the near future videos, we'll get someone to help us with the editing, because I can't keep editing all of my content. But thank you for watching. See you guys in the next one.